What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Dead with My Friends podcast. I am Steve,
I'm Nick.
and this week we are talking the 1981 slasher Madman. All right, Nick. So I figured before we get into Madman, it's still November. Upon time of this releasing, it'll be the day before Thanksgiving. And I'm still going strong with Ninja November. I've watched Ninja Scrolls, which was a very violent 90s anime. I've watched the movie and some of the episodes in my collection. Remember when we went to Comic-Con and I got that box set
Of course.
at Teku Joe's booth? Yeah, so I've been watching a few episodes from there, and then this past weekend I watched Pray for Death with Sho Kasugi, where he's dressed like the fucking Shredder and just chopping
Show.
people up. Yeah, man, chopping people up like left and right, and dude straight looks like the fucking Shredder. It's so awesome.
That's like what his costume looks like in it.
Yeah, he looks like the Shredder. It's fucking awesome. And it's another like really violent one like Revenge of the Ninja and another one with a great main villain. Like the main villain, he's a fucking psycho, dude. He will go to like any end to fucking get revenge on show for like fucking with his operation. Like this dude's a fucking sadistic fuck. But yeah, so I've watched that and then I've also watched Murai Ninja, aka Cyber Ninja, which is based off of a Namco side scroller ninja game that came out in the 80s. And Mirai Ninja, I ended up picking up when we were at that booth, that Japanese booth at Monster Mania Con. That was like one of the pickups I got.
The dudes that were selling all the bootlegs.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would get like the Japanese import bootlegs and it's cool, man. It's like the character, the main ninja, he's like Yoshimitsu meets like a Super Sentai, which was like the Japanese Power Ranger. Like it has a lot of Power Ranger vibes to it and like Kamen Rider meets Star Wars meets futuristic ninja film. It's kind of like very ambitious and all over the place, super low budget and cheesy, but a really fun one. I definitely recommend anyone that's into ninja films and that is partaking in Ninja November to like check out Mirai Ninja and definitely Pray for Death with Sho Kasugi.
Well, it's good to see that, you're still going strong with your Ninja November, man. I can't say the same about myself, man. I've been so busy. I haven't been watching anything aside from this flick that we're doing, Madman. And last night I started watching The Evil Dead, the Fede Alvarez
Okay,
one. So, oh man, so good, dude. That's such a good fucking movie.
absolutely. Definitely one of my favorites.
I could watch that over and over again.
At the time, I think the only way to get the uncut version was if you ordered the Japanese version. And so I have that Blu-ray straight up from Japan. It's really sick.
That's the extended cut, but it's like all in one film. But I've seen all of like
Yeah.
what has been added into that because they have it in the special features. It's just all deleted scenes. But it's cool that they had added it into it. I don't know if the Shout Factory one is the uncut version. Do you know?
I am not sure. I am not sure. But what I do know is All Out War, apocalyptic metal band from the Hudson Valley, from Newburgh, are coming out with a new record, and they just dropped a new single called Wrath Plague, and it fucking slams, dude.
And you didn't send it to me.
I did not send it to you. I'm sorry. But what's cool in relation to All Out War's like new album, new single dropping is they are playing a show on Black Friday in Middletown in celebration of Rock Fantasy's 37th year anniversary. Now, for those that live in like the Middletown area, Hudson Valley area, Rock Fantasy was like a concert kind of shop where you could get like records, teas, notorious pinball section, some like horror movie memorabilia, and a lot of like wrestling memorabilia. And like when my dad was alive, he would bring me there all the time as a kid. I remember getting a lot of wrestling figures from there, and like him getting like records and like Pantera shirts and Misfit shirts. And it's just so sick to see this place still going strong. And they've gotten a new location over the recent years, so the store's bigger. The pinball section in the back, it's way bigger. It's like
Do they have Kiss Pinball?
I'm pretty sure they have Kiss pinball and Kiss like memorabilia and merch. They have a Monsters one, they've got a Rob Zombie one, they've got a Godzilla one. Like it's a whole long room with like the glow in the dark paint and glow,
Mhm.
like those like neon posters with the black
Yeah.
lights.
Yeah.
That's like the vibe in the back, and it's just a long row of pinball machines. So it's always cool to like go there, play some pinball. I mean, I've picked up a few Pantera shirts and Misfit shirts from there. I remember I got Death's Spiritual Healing on vinyl from there and Misfits Collection 2 on vinyl. I'm just so happy that that place exists still and like just fond memories when my dad was alive going there. So it's really cool to see Steve like running strong with his shop, and now he has built a stage at this bowling ball alley called Quinn Pins, and he built a stage there so bands could play. And they're doing like a metal show, and like one of the bands, it's a death metal band called Necroptic Engorgement. They're playing. All Out War is headlining, so this is going to be pretty interesting to see All Out War in fucking Middletown in a bowling alley. I'm pretty stoked. Are you gonna be able to make it to the show?
I haven't decided yet. A big part of me might be taking the nephews for Thanksgiving weekend because they're off of
Okay,
school.
okay.
So I might be doing that. I'll definitely let you know within these next couple days what I decide to do with it. But I'm definitely interested in it. It sounds like a lot of fun. I actually told Josh about it as well. He might even be interested in going too.
That would be sick if Josh showed up.
Dude, he's always down to go to a show. And Roanoke's actually playing a show in December. So
Oh, it's booked?
yeah, they booked it. They're in show mode now. So
Okay.
super hyped about that.
Hell yeah. I need details so I can come down.
Oh
Hopefully
yeah.
it's a weekend show. I'm sure it's gonna be a weekend show, but I would love to come down. Maybe I can get Dan Boy to come down, and
Everybody else has got shit to do during the week, so it's definitely going to be a weekend show for sure.
that would be sick to have him come down with, and we all just go watch the boys play like old times, like when you were in Rise and Fall.
I think it might be in Nyack, dude. So it'll be in the ye old stomping ground.
I was gonna say if it's at the Nyack Center,
No, it won't be
I would
there.
be so fucking stoked. Oh,
It definitely won't be there. They're like so against fucking shows and shit now.
that sucks because that's a great venue.
Yeah,
That is a great venue, and that had a lot of potential to be more.
many Friday nights. A lot of great memories.
Yeah. To circle back real quick about like the All Out War 37th anniversary for Rock Fantasy. What's cool about the show is it just all comes full circle is it's also the day of my dad's the anniversary of his death. He passed away
Mm-hmm.
on November 25th, which the year that he did it was Thanksgiving that day. So I just think like what a cool way to like kind of honor the memories of my dad by going to this show with my friends
Yeah,
that is hosted by Rock Fantasy in celebration of their anniversary.
right. That's a great way to look at it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because if he was still alive and kicking, I think he would be there.
Oh yeah, he would have been there, man.
He loved Rock Fantasy. He loved going to
We would have
shows.
ate some shitty food,
Yep. Some 7-Eleven nachos.
smoked some J's.
Yeah, for sure. He would have been all about it. He was a real one.
Hell yeah.
With that being said, man, I think it's time we talk Madman.
Oh yeah, let's do it, dude.
Before we get into the plot, Nick, do you have any like history with this movie? When's the first time you saw it?
Dude, I honestly don't. I wish I had a better story about Madman, dude. Truthfully, I think I had first seen Madman on one of the last drive-ins on Shutter. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Joe Bob one of the years had shown it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did cover it.
It was definitely on Shutter. I had seen it, and it was a good couple of years ago now that I had did seen it. But, dude, I loved it, and I loved it so much that as soon as Vinegar Syndrome released the 4K Ultra HD, I was like, gotta fucking have it. And I just cracked it open too for the
Oh, okay.
viewing. Yeah.
That Vinegar Syndrome, great release. I have the Arrow Blu-ray release. I don't know. If part of me was like, should I really double dip? I mean, don't get me wrong, Vinegar Syndrome always puts out the best. I've already got it on Blu-ray, so I think I'm okay with just keeping my Arrow copy, even though it's Region B locked, but
Fuck it. You got a region free player.
exactly. So I'm like, what am I worried about? But yeah, my background to this was a media play visit with my grandfather. He had taken me to media play, and he was like, pick out some flicks. And the cover of Madman just grabbed me. It was the Anchor Bay 2002 release but at the time, I think I got it, it was like 2005. And we watched it. And at the time, where I was living, it was a heavily wooded area. So when we get to a certain scene, I'll just say it right now, this movie made me fucking terrified of the woods. Like, this is one that stuck with me when I was a kid.
So you're like always looking into the trees in the moonlight, just looking for Madman Mars.
Dude, 100%. Looking, yeah, dude, and fucking like making sure I don't say his name above a whisper.
Oh yeah, don't say it. Yeah, definitely don't scream it into the woods.
So yeah, man, let's get into the fucking meat and potatoes of this movie.
Okay, let's do it.
So Madman opens up with this fucking awesome ass score, or the title card. Madman just pops out at you, and there's like these image of these like gnarled trees that look like hands, which turns out Paul Ellers, who played Madman Mars, designed the sketchings of like the trees or whatever,
Okay,
and that was originally intended to be the poster.
that would have been boring.
You don't like that? I thought it would be a cool poster.
It would have been a little boring. It would have been kind of cool, but I think it would have been a little boring. I like the poster that they have for it now.
So distribution already had that poster like lined up, so they just went with that. So I guess in your favor that works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get our title card and we get the Madman Mars score. And then it goes into like all of these kids and camp counselors surrounded by a fire, and one of the counselors, TP, is singing this song, and it's kind of like foreshadowing the events to come, which I kind of think like they showed a little bit too much there.
Oh yeah, they definitely did, man. They showed you like the demise of like four people right out of the fucking gate.
So here's the thing. I thought TP's fucking singing was corny as shit. It was fucking lame. I think he's a total fucking lameo. But after he gets done with his little fucking song and dance, the head of the camp, Max, gets into the legend of Madman Mars. Now this I love because he tells the story of Madman Mars like so good. This actor was great. Max, there's not too many characters I like in this movie, but Max is one of them. And so he goes on about, how Madman Mars was this mad farmer who just went crazy and killed his whole family. The town found out and they lynched him, but when they went to go cut him down the next day, his body was gone.
Yeah, the noose was ripped.
Yeah. And the rule is if you say his name above a whisper, he'll hear you. And if he hears you, he'll come for you. So then we got this wise ass, Richie. Richie the wise guy.
It's always a Richie.
It's always a Richie, man. Them fucking Richies or something, dude. He's like, "Here we are, madman. Come and get us." And he throws a fucking rock. What an arm on this kid. Could have been a star quarterback. Fucking throws this rock and it hits Madman Mars's house and breaks the windows. And then like Max is like, "Oh Richie, what have you done? Anyone that goes out in the woods tonight is not safe." So it's a really cool setup for the movie. Minus TP's horrible singing, I do love this whole backstory around the campfire.
Who doesn't love that, man? Like the thing that I like about that is you can feel that it's like that nice like November chilly night, like a
Mm-hmm.
light breeze, like you feel that. I like that atmosphere.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention like this movie. Upon the time of dropping this, we said it's going to be the day before Thanksgiving, and Max does mention like to the kids like your families are coming up for Thanksgiving break, and that's like the end of the season.
So it was fitting.
So I think that's why this movie works well. Yeah, it's fitting. So they're ready to head back to the cabins. All of like the girls start heading out, and then you got TP and some of the boys who are in charge of putting out the fire. And as they're putting out the fire, Richie looks up in the trees and he sees the silhouette of someone watching them from the trees.
It's creepy.
Dude, I've had nightmares of that scene so many times as a kid. Like that was the defining moment where I was like, all right, I'm fucking terrified of the woods. The way they shot that was so effective, man. Richie's just like stunned, like, yo, am I looking at this? And the rest of the party just goes on without him.
Yeah, they leave his ass behind. Unknowingly, they didn't know, but he went out and he ventures.
Yeah, because they wanted to like double time and make it back to the cabin to meet everyone. Before that, I guess TP and Betsy, played by Galen Ross from Creep Show and Dawn of the Dead, although she was working under a different name for this movie because there was a actors union strike So she did this under a different name. It seems like she totally phoned this in. But anyways, so her and TP they get into this little fucking lover spat and shit, and like TP like wants to address it publicly to his peers and shit since they made it public knowledge. So yeah, Richie's exploring the fucking Madman Mars's house. We then transition to this scene where it's Galen Ross's character, Betsy, and TP, and they're undressing and getting ready to dip into a hot tub. This scene goes on for like 5 fucking minutes, and it's just them spinning in the hot tub,
Looking at each other.
looking at each other, trying to get all fucking intimate. And the worst part is the song playing again, written and performed by the actor that played as TP. So now, first 30 minutes in, we have to hear this guy sing again. And I am just, my eyes are rolling the whole time. Cause every time I'm just like, fuck, do I skip it? But then it's like kind of so bad it's funny. Cause you just can't believe how long it goes on for of them just staring at each other, spinning in circles to this stupid, corny ass love song written by TP. What's your thoughts on this scene, brother?
I mean, I'm like the same with you. I'm like, when is it gonna end?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's just so bad that it's good though. I won't skip it though.
You won't skip it either?
No, I won't skip it.
I love when I'm watching this with people that have never seen it, and they it comes to this scene and they're just like, "What the fuck?"
And you're just like looking over at them.
Yep, yeah, and it happens every time. So then we get a glimpse though of Madman, which is cool. And I love like those the sound design for this movie is so good because like anytime Madman pops on screen, it's like down 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 or like some quick like little noise scare that I think is actually pretty effective.
I agree.
So yeah, TP goes back to the after their love making in the hot tub and Madman watching them from a window. You get a quick glimpse of him. When I first saw this, that scene scared the shit out of me. I don't know, I just wasn't expecting to see him out the window, I guess, as a kid.
Seems like a lot of scenes scared the shit out of you of this movie.
Dude, this movie really did scare me as a kid. I'm not lying. I'm straight up. Um TP goes and checks the boys' cabin and he sees that Richie's not there. And he's asking like the two other guys, like, where's Richie? And we're like, we don't know. Shout outs to them. I mean, they were trying to cover their boy's ass. So they were like, yo, make up his bed. Like he's sleeping, Richie knows what he's doing. But TP fucking he's like, I gotta go look for him. But before that, we get our first Madman kill. I mean, if you don't count the flashback to him killing like his wife and two kids.
I don't count that.
The cook.
The cook who looks like Eugene from WWE.
Yes, Dippy, who's hitting the bottle.
The drunk Jack Daniels.
Yeah, he opens up like this storage closet and the light comes on and Madman is just there and he fucking rips his throat out with his claws. And it's some pretty good gore.
Damn good gore.
Yeah, I appreciate a good throat rip, and he did it with his claws. And he does this little fucking growl, which, like, I don't know if you noticed this, but Madman's got a lot of Sasquatch like mannerisms.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The whole peeping in the window, the whole brrr, growling shit, and like even just like if you notice, like his feet
Mm-hmm.
are really fucking big. So that's maybe also why I get these Sasquatch vibes.
I could definitely see that.
The scene where he's standing in the trees, he almost fell out of the trees because of how slippery the fake feet were.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that they had any grip on him.
Yeah. But yeah, so he gouges out the throat of the cook, and one of the counselors is just off by the water playing a fucking recorder horribly. I swear this woman's got like 9 lives because she almost gets it, and they do this buildup where she's like slipping on the rocks or the slope that she's like trying to climb up, and Madman's like right on her. It's almost like a Jaws moment. And he just misses her. So she gets away, and TP is out looking, or before he goes, he's like talking to Betsy about going to find Richie, and it's his responsibility since he was, charge of all the boys there. Alan Ross's character doesn't want him to go alone, but he's like, nah, it's my responsibility. And as she like looks over, there's a Madman just kind of runs by in the shadows, and I'm like, boom, almost like Bigfoot. There's like those low quality like video images of like Bigfoot like running across the road. That's kind of like what it reminded me of.
Is there any kind of other video of fucking Bigfoot? It's always low quality.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a pretty high quality vid of one like blinking. I can't confirm how real it is or not. It looks very convincing. If that was a mask, that was like some Hollywood quality fucking Stan Winston level effects, all right? So, just gonna put that there.
Send it to me.
I will, I will. So TP's out in the woods, he's searching. He's like panning his light in between the bushes, and we get another little quick glimpse of Madman's face in between the bushes. And TP's like, "Oh, what was that?" And he goes back, and like Madman's gone. Then Madman comes up from behind and fucking lynches TP and hangs him up on a tree.
It's my favorite.
Is this your favorite kill?
Yeah, that's my favorite kill in the movie because it's just so violent, dude. He's dragging him through the woods. He's got the noose around his neck, and then he slings him on the fucking tree. I don't know, man. I just found it to be pretty intense.
I love the sound effects of the rope around the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, what's great is at one point, TP, like, pulls himself up and he's, like, catching his breath. And then Madman just grabs at his belt buckle that says TP and just yanks him down. And you hear, like, the neck break. And, dude, the actor looks convincingly dead.
Yes, that was one of the comments that I had made to Kim when we were watching it. I was like, "That's some really good makeup," and he really looks dead.
Well, it turns out he was, like, I think he was, like, kind of choking himself to make it look more legit.
Oh man, that's dangerous.
I know, which quite some fucking dedication there. But it does, it looks truly legit. He really looks dead. So, Galen Ross's character starts to realize that TP's been gone for a long time. So she consults with the other staff and is like, "Hey guys, TP's been gone for a bit." But before she does, we get this weird fucking shot of them laying head by head in front of the fire. And there's this like corny fucking disco like music or something. And the one guy, Dave, gets up and he does this like edgy psycho killer fucking monologue. And he's like, you never know what I'm thinking. I could be thinking rationally or irrationally. And he like pulls out some fucking folding knife. And he's like holding the blade. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck is this? My man is a cornball. And they're like, Dave, are you okay? And then he like makes a crack at like Madman. And then everyone's like, ah ha ha. And they all just like fucking hug each other, cuddly. And it's just like, okay. But yeah, so Betsy's like, hey, TP's been missing. And Dave's like, all right, I'll go look because we've had this happen before during the daytime and it took really long to find the kids, so I'll get on it. And Betsy's like, I kind of saw something out there, and it's really worried me. And no one believes her. They're all like, "You're overthinking this. I'll find TP. We'll find Richie. Everything's gonna be cool." So Dave's out there. He's looking for TP, and he comes across the tree, but he doesn't see TP's body hanging. He just sees like the rope burn. He's like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" Another thing is like, I guess Madman smells like death. So he's like, "Oh, what's that smell?" Just like TP before TP got ambushed.
He's like, "Oh, it smells like death."
Yep. Yeah. So Dave kind of does like the same thing as he's looking for TP and then ends up stumbling into TP's hanging body. And that's when we get the chase with Madman, who's now got the axe, which to circle back, there was an axe stuck in the stump that TP and Max were trying to get out, but they couldn't.
$100 bet. Whoever could get it out.
Yeah, $100 bet. And TP's taking it super serious, because he's got to be like the big macho guy. But Madman Mars just takes that shit out with one hand. So we know like he's like, yeah, with his fucking Sasquatch growls. So we know like, dude, he's strong as fuck. So Madman's got the axe and he starts swinging at Dave, misses him, but then Dave trips over a stump or like a log, something in the ground. I think it was a log. And Madman jumps up on the log, hops off, and does like a fucking power swing. Cue fucking Executioner's Tax swinging the axe by power trip. And
Yeah.
fucking takes fucking Dave's head right off. Zap. Just takes that shit right off. Then Stacy, who's playing the recorder, she starts to realize Dave's been now gone, and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna take the truck and I'm gonna go look." And Betsy's like, "No, you should wait for Bill, who's like the mustache dude, and his girl." Stacy straight up cooks Betsy. She's like, "Well, that's the difference between me and you. It's like I don't wait around for things to happen. I just fucking do them." So I was like, "Oh shit, all right, Stacy." So she takes the truck out there. She's looking for Dave, and she finds his decapitated body. Actually, at one point, to circle back, the truck stalls This is where again she's got like 9 lives, but they're about to run out.
Yes, they are.
The truck stalls and Madman is like right there to grab the door and he just misses cuz of course the car starts and she takes off or the truck starts and he's all pissed and he does his little fucking growl like ah she got away again.
I'll get her.
She's looking for Dave and she finds his fucking decapitated body. And the way she finds is like again she trips and she like stumbles upon at the body and Dave's like headless body kind of like sits up. I thought that was pretty funny. So she runs back to the truck and of course in typical fashion the truck won't start and she goes to check the hood and our man Madman Mars is standing on top of the truck and slams down on the hood and takes Stacy's head clean off.
And that's my other favorite kill.
That is my number one favorite kill in this movie. It's so good, and the way the fucking blood squirts from her fucking bloody stump onto the license plate as her body's like sliding down.
All the decapitated heads, they must have like reused like the torsos because they were like all the same.
I'm sure they did to cut costs for sure. But that was another great decapitation. I really like Stacy's death. And then it's it's Bill's turn. Him and his girl, they're done doing their thing in the tent and they regroup with Betsy and they're like, "All right, now we've got 3 people missing. So Bill and his girl, like, we're gonna go out together. Stacy or Betsy, you stay back and watch the kids." So they go out, they find the truck. I don't know how they don't see the body, but Bill's girlfriend gets a sighting of Madman like checking out the truck or something, and she like freaks out. And Bill's like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "I saw like a monster or something." And of course, Madman's not there. So they're like, all right, well, let's get the truck back since no one's here and just kind of, update Betsy on what's going on. And as they do, and they're about to take off, which again, I don't know how Bill misses the fucking body of Stacy. They're about to take off, and Madman just smashes through the window, pulls Bill out, and then brother puts Bill straight up in the fucking torture rack.
Yes, he's holding them over his head.
Yep, and like snaps his spine, fucking Lex Luger style.
Hell yeah.
And then we begin this long chase with Bill's girlfriend. She makes her way back to the cabins and she's looking for Betsy, but Betsy's like not in the main office. She's like checking on the kids. So she runs into the rec area and Madman is pursuing her and he's starting to like chop down the door, which he ends up breaking through the door. And this is like the first time I ever saw this. She hides in the fridge.
That's the thing, dude, like that everybody like everybody talks about that scene. If you go on like IMDb and you look at like people's reviews, they're like what a place to hide in the refrigerator, you know?
Yeah. And she's throwing shit out.
He didn't see her go in the fridge.
That's what I'm saying, cause like, she's throwing things out of the fridge to get in there, like, he must have heard I think what he did, he definitely knew she was in the fridge.
Yeah.
So he's like, "I'm gonna bait her out."
Yeah, play the slow game.
She opens and fucking he's not there, so she's, like, creeping around, and she's calling Betsy's name, and there's this shot of, like, Madman, like, he's hiding behind the front door to the rec area, and you see a bit of his face watching her from like one of the holes in the doors from the axe, and then she's like creeping by the front door, and then whap, he fucking gets her right in like the chest slash throat area, and it was very like reminiscent. I know this predates Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, but it gave me that vibe of like the girl in the towel when she gets the axe through the door.
Yes, I could see that.
So I thought that was pretty awesome, and I love that it's like the slow motion like blood pumping like spraying out. I always appreciate that. Almost has like an Italian horror vibe to it because Fulci was known for doing that.
The blood too, the color of the blood, it looks like some Dario Argento blood, right?
Yeah, yeah, very bright red, exactly. So yeah, she's taken out this counselor, and then it's just Betsy, and she's like, "Fuck this! I'm calling Max." We forgot to mention Max is out in town playing cards. So she gets a hold of the bar where he's playing cards and lets him know, like, "Hey, we've got counselors missing, kids missing." Max is like, "All right, I'm on my way." And she like loads up the shotgun with a few shells. She goes to check the rec area, and Madman strategically like throws up the one counselor's body to the window and she just fucking blows it apart. Betsy does with the shotgun.
She was a little too trigger happy.
Dude, I had that in my notes. I was like, Betsy shoots at everything in this movie but Madman.
The other camp counselor, dude, like, I think she was definitely still semi alive until Betsy blew her away.
Maybe she was. Maybe she was like crawling up to the window.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
A part of me feels like Madman just fucking with her, like, oh, I'm gonna prop her body up and see. Maybe he saw her getting the gun because he's always kind of lurking, you know?
It's like you never know where he is. He's like a ghost.
Yeah. So fucking Betsy takes out the other counselor with her fucking trigger happy self. Meanwhile, all this is going on. We keep getting like shots of Richie exploring Madman's house. And Madman, he keeps going back and forth to his basement. What blows my mind about this movie is how Madman and Richie never run into each other at all.
Well, Richie did a good job of being pretty quiet in there.
Yeah, yeah. Like the only encounter they have is when Richie sees him in the trees in the beginning.
No, and then he sees him running out too.
Yes, yeah, yeah. But Madman doesn't see him.
You're right though. Like the first like eye to eye, like where they recognize each other is the scene when he's looking in the trees. But Richie does see Madman leaving, running away back to the camp because Madman keeps bringing bodies back.
Mhm. Yeah, he's, like, hanging up on these hooks in his basement.
Very TCM like.
Yeah, dude, much, much like TCM, and, that's where he had his wife and 2 kids that he murdered all those years ago. So, Betsy, she gathers up all the kids, and she gets them in the bus, and she's like, "We're driving out of here." Just as she's taking off, Madman attacks the bus, and he, like, tries to get in, and they start swinging a bat on his hand to the point where he's like, "Alright, fuck this hurts."
Yeah.
And she tells the one camper who's like a teenager, she's like, "I need you to drive," because she's just gonna hang out. I don't know why she decides I'm just gonna hang back out and go search for Madman. She should have just kept driving the fucking bus, and she would have been good. But she goes back looking for Madman because I don't know. Maybe she's like, I still gotta find Richie. He's probably still out there. And she goes into his house and she's got the shotgun ready and she doesn't see, but we see Madman is like come through a side window creeping in the corner and he like ambushes her. Of course, gets trigger happy, pops off another shot, misses again, and then she's like trying to put another 2 shells in because the first shell she wasted on her coworker, and then the next shell she wasted on a noise after Madman fucking ambushes her. So she's trying to put the other 2 shells in, and he slashes her face with his claws, and he's like dragging her down to the basement. And just as he's about to hang her up on the hook, she like stabs him in like the shoulder or the neck with her folding knife, which you'd mentioned like everyone and their mother in this movie has a fucking folding knife, which I guess I get because they're camp
Yeah,
counselors.
they're pocket knives and shit.
How this really affects him, Madman, is beyond me, and I think this is where they kind of drop the ball a bit because Madman Mars has got a candle lit in this basement, and there's a bunch of hay. And when he gets stabbed, he knocks over the candle, and all the hay catches on fire. But the way it's shot, you're like, dude, he totally could have just ran for it. But he doesn't. I guess we're led to believe that he just burns up with all of the bodies.
Yeah, we never know though.
Yeah, we don't. And then the movie ends with the shot of just Richie walking on the side of the road, and here comes Max, who's probably just about to get there, and he sees Richie, and he's like, Richie, what's going on? What's wrong?" And I love that fucking Richie's like fucking hypnotic monotone voice. He's like, "Madman Mars, he's real." And then it's the fucking cues in the theme, dan dan dan, and we get a shot of all the bodies hanging, which I do love that. I love the outro Madman song that isn't TP singing. That song rules. And I think that was a good way to end it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great way to end it. Dude, I don't know what it is, man. Like I would have liked to see the house like on fire, like in the woods.
Yeah, that would have been a cool shot.
I've said it a couple times with a lot of these movies, but it's just I don't know, man. I like fire, I guess, but it would have been cool to see the house, on fire at the end.
You fucking pyromaniac.
Dude, you should have saw me when I was a kid, man, stealing my grandma's matches. The movie, man, it's super fucking cheesy. Super cheesy, but it just works
Very
so
cheesy.
well, man.
Very cheesy, but the kills are good. The Madman character is awesome.
The Madman character is great, man, and like who doesn't like an urban legend? Who doesn't like a good urban legend? Or a good urban legend at a camp, too. Like that's fucking great.
And it's funny you say urban legend because this movie was originally supposed to be based off of Cropsey, but The Burning had already began production or had already no, it had already released. So this movie was on a bit of a delay filming it, right? but they intended for it to be the Cropsey killer based off the Cropsey legends from Staten Island.
It is Staten Island, right? I didn't know if I was just about to
Yeah,
ask you if you knew if it was
Willowbrook.
Long Island or if it was
Yep.
a Staten Island urban legend.
Yeah, Staten Island. Well, no, it was actually real because, well, the dude was like legit kidnapping kids and using the underground tunnels that were on the Willowbrook property and like hiding them.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, there's a really good documentary. It's called like Urban Legends, and they do like a whole segment on Cropsey, and then they ended up branching off and just giving it its own Cropsey documentary. Really worth checking out.
I'll check it out. I love documentaries.
And it's cool because it's kinda, like, close to us and, with my field of work, I had to learn about Willowbrook, so it's, pretty crazy to see because there was that whole TV segment by some famous, '70s reporter that did, like, a whole thing on Willowbrook, and, like, he made, like, a surprise visit where they, like, filmed on location the disgusting conditions and the neglect and abuse.
Dude, I've actually seen that.
It's a very horrifying story.
Oh yeah, it's very sad. I do remember seeing that, but I had seen people mistaking that footage for Letchworth Village footage. Like people were saying that, like, oh, this is what's going on in Letchworth, but it was actually what was going on in Willowbrook.
Yeah. I could see why they would mistake that, which I mean, Letchworth wasn't that much better. My grandparents retired from Letchworth. My grandmother worked in the office, and my grandfather, he was a maintenance guy, and they've got stories of like how rough the conditions could be and like how sad it was for the individuals there and some people that didn't belong there but were trapped there because their families just abandoned them.
It's very sad, man. Just very sad.
100%, but it's cool that to tie this all to like urban legends. Like, yeah, they intended this to be on based off the Cropsey legend.
Well, that's some good information. I didn't know that.
Well, that's also too like why I think they shot in Long Island to try to keep it like, oh well, it's kind of like Staten Island.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I mean that wraps up the plot and everything in Madman. So, what do you say, brother? Are you ready to get into your rating?
Yeah, man. I'm definitely down to rate this one. So I'll go first since you asked. Dude, I will always watch this movie, dude. Like I said, as cheesy as it is, it's got just that charm to it. I love the Madman character. And like I said, who doesn't love a good urban legend? The gore was just so good. The characters were all really unlikable, but but
Yeah, yeah.
you liked them though. Like there wasn't a single character other than Max, I'd say, who I'd be like, oh no, they were pretty cool. I feel bad that they had died. Yeah, dude. I love it. So, dude, I give it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
So again, the characters for me aren't very likable besides Richie and Max, but the kills are fun. The gore is pretty solid. I dig Madman as a character, Madman Mars. As a kid, you scared the fuck out of me. That fucking image of him in the tree will always stay with me. I'm coming in with a 7.3.
Cool.
This is a childhood favorite growing up and one that has stuck with me and one that I try to visit around this time of the year.
There's not a lot of like Thanksgiving horror flicks, right?
There's Blood Rage,
Which I'm not really a fan of.
but I love Blood Rage. I think it's a fun one. And since I have off for Thanksgiving this year, you better believe your ass that night before I am 100% watching Blood Rage.
I'm gonna revisit Blood Rage, man.
I think you should.
I think I've only seen it one time, so who knows like how I felt during that time. So when I had first seen it, I didn't like it, but I will watch it again.
Here's what you do, brother. You roll yourself a nice fucking raw joint, all right?
Yeah.
And you fucking spark that up, finish that, get yourself a nice little snack and a drink.
Some popcorn Sprite.
Yeah. And put on Blood Rage.
All right.
I would recommend, dude, watch it the night before Thanksgiving, because I know you'll have off too.
Yeah, I'll be off.
You know?
All right, I'll do that.
It's a good time, man. With that being said, if you like what you've been watching and or listening to, be sure to follow us on our socials at Dead with My Friends podcast on Instagram. We are also on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor, and YouTube. We at Dead with My Friends podcast hope you guys all have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy the day with your families.
Enjoy. Later.